Well, welcome to the Canine Nutrition Seminar, and it's sponsored by Vibrant Pets. My name is Lee Phillips, and I am the president of Vibrant Pets. Giving the seminar will be Steve Watson, and Steve is the director of professional services at Vibrant Pets, and he is an awesome guy on nutrition. He has had well over 20 years of experience with nutritional issues with dogs, and he is also a breeder, and he judges at different events, and he has a lot of champion dogs in his kennel. I would like you to look to the right side of your screen, and you'll see a little box that says for questions, and we encourage you to ask questions, and Steve will answer those questions at the end of the seminar. So it's over to you, Steve.
Lee, thanks
And
a lot for that introduction. I'm looking forward to doing this this evening. It's one of my passions is to talk about dogs in general and nutrition specifically. So, as Lee mentioned earlier, we're sponsored by the Vibrant Pets Company this evening. We're going to give you a quick rundown on canine nutrition and the importance of supplementation. It is truly a common sense matter. And when we put a few of these things out here in front of you, I hope you'll leave here this evening saying, wow, I never thought of it like that before. But here we go. Some basic demographics here. We've done some studying following the dog food industry and stuff, or the pet supply industry, and the numbers are positively staggering. 63% of the American households have at least a pet. Most of them have more than one. Um, Dogs lead the charge, but coming up a close second is cats. And of course, they've also counted horses as well. So we're talking about 71 million households in the country who have a minimum of one pet. And it's we're going to address some ways that you can make them healthier and some ways that can save you some money. The Center for Disease Control has noted the importance or the benefits of pet ownership, and they are well listed here on your screen. Decreases in blood pressure, cholesterol levels, triglycerides, which is the first thing they hit you with as soon as you walk in the door at the doctor's office, and also helps with feelings of loneliness. I'll raise my hand and say, yes, I do talk to my dogs, and I'm not going to tell you if they speak back to me or not. Another increase is opportunities for exercise and outdoor activities, which generally tend to make us happier. They make us healthier. This type of outdoor exercise and stuff aids in preventing or helping depression. Um, and opportunities for socialization. I'm sure most of you have taken your pets out on a walk or taken them, to the park, with you when you go. You've noticed that, if your dog is with you, many more people will come up and speak, than if you're out there by yourself. The staggering numbers that I mentioned earlier, this is the one that got me first. 50 billion with a B dollars were spent last year, 2012. This is the money that people spent on their pets. And the majority of that money was spent on food and veterinary care. The average number is $460 a year. And this is something that we very rarely think about, but, it should be factored into the experience. And this brings us to an area where we want to, we're going to spend that money, no question, but, why shouldn't we be getting the biggest bang for our buck with the money that we spend? And, if we can maintain our pets in the highest level of health, they will be happier, we will be happier, and, perhaps you can come out on the low end of that $460 a year. Some information that we have gotten together from the pet insurance industry. Top 10 claims for dogs and cats right here. And as we look down this list, I will tell you that on the dog side, basically everything that's on that list with proper supplementation, proper nutrition and supplementation, let's say that, we can directly and positively affect every one of those except sprains, number 10. And even when we get a sprain, with proper nutrition and supplementation, we can speed up the healing process. Feline claims, all 10 of those there are something that can be, directly affected and controlled by proper nutrition and supplementation. One of my favorite quotes of all time, Hippocrates, the father of modern medicine, said, "Let your food be your medicine, and your medicine be your food." This is at the root of the holistic healthcare and holistic feeding disciplines. We support the body, we let the body heal itself. This is truly the way to go. We've used this successfully here for over 25 years. I am very proud to say that if you look at my health records at our vet's office, you'll find hip x-rays, you'll find rabies vaccines, and occasionally, an x-ray or an ultrasound if we've got puppies on the way. For the last 25 years, we have not had a sick dog, and it is due directly to the way that we feed and the way that we supplement. You can get easily an extra 20 to 25%, 30% in some cases, extra nutrition out of your food with the proper supplements. We did this presentation originally at a big grooming trade show and a grooming contest and stuff, and we were interested, and of course still are, in putting some of these products into the shops of these people who see your animals on a regular basis. And so there are a few things in here that may be directly related to the grooming business, but that's we'll just go through them as we get to them. The purpose of this presentation is to just give you a basic overview of how canine nutrition works. We're going to look at a couple of different, or actually 3 different types of animals and the proper feeding for those types of animals. We're going to the suitability of these various types of feeding for the types of animals. There's very distinct mismatch between canine physiology and the way that we expect them to eat and digest and metabolize their food. And of course, lastly, to explain the benefits of supplementation. The first type of animal that we have here is the carnivore. Obviously, this is an animal that eats meat. You can look at that skull to the right of your screen right there and tell that every tooth in that animal's head has a point on it, even the molars. They are not suited for chewing, for grinding, for breaking down, hard things, kibbles. They're not suited for breaking down grasses and grains and stuff. So their dentition and their physiology, from their mouth all the way through, is made for digesting meat. It's a short digestive tract, and it's very supercharged at extracting nutrients from the meat. Predators are carnivores, and dogs, even our pet dogs, are predators. Herbivores. Now you can see this skull on the right of this screen right here is substantially different from the one that we just saw. You look at those teeth, it's like they're all molars. They're all flat. They are all made for grinding stuff. These type of animals also have multi-chambered stomachs where they chew for a while, they'll swallow. They'll let this stuff soak in digestive juices. They will bring it back up, chew on it some more, swallow again, and it'll do this process until it's broken down to a point where it's ready to go to the next stomach chamber. It takes substantially more digestive tract length to digest grains and grasses than it does meat. Dogs are obviously not equipped to do this. And the omnivores, which frankly the marketing companies will want you to believe that your dog is an omnivore and therefore should eat grains and grasses, or if you're into the new grain-free dog foods and stuff, they want you to eat potatoes and sweet potatoes and carrots and various things like that. But the true omnivore, has teeth that are suited for ripping and tearing flesh, for cutting, and also for grinding. As I mentioned earlier, the dogs are obviously carnivores. I mean, based on nothing more than looking at their teeth, that's enough of an answer right there. We're looking at various feeding regimens now, and this is one of my favorite subjects and stuff. This is something that has come with years and years of research, years of practical experience, and competing in various types of dog events, from conformation to hunting tests. We're always looking for a competitive edge, and nutrition is a great way to start. I mean, if your dog looks good, feels good, it naturally follows they're going to perform well. um, so raw diet would be the number one choice. It's a natural diet for dogs, and it contains bioavailable, naturally occurring enzymes, probiotics, vitamins and minerals, essential fatty acids, et cetera, that are needed for complete digestion and metabolization and the overall health of your animal. This is also available in a form where it is most efficiently and effectively digested and metabolized. Choice number 2 is a cooked diet. One of the, well, first of all, it has many of the benefits of the raw diet except for no live enzymes or probiotics, and some of the vitamins, specifically vitamin C, vitamin B6, and vitamin B12, are susceptible to heat and are therefore killed. Some of the minerals are no longer bioavailable, so unless you add them in from an outside source, you're killing actually with heat part of the nutrition, that you're trying to provide. However, one of the true benefits of this is the satisfaction you will feel in doing something good for your pet. Here at my place, we make a big deal at mealtime. Now, although my dogs are on a raw diet, I still call it cooking dinner for them, and they understand what that means, and we make a big deal out of it. We get in some quality time, maybe a little bit of training. I fix their dinner, and everybody's happy. So this is a good way to go. Choice number 3 is a commercial diet, and we have been told through years and years and years of marketing on television, on the radio, in magazines, that whatever the ingredients are that the dog food companies want to use in their formulas, because they're easy to get, they're inexpensive, they're easy to blend, whatever, will provide optimum health for our animals, and that is not proving to be the case. The primary positive feature of this type of feeding is convenience. I mean, it's just too easy to dip it out of a bag and put it into a bowl and set it on the floor and expect the dog to eat it. But as we covered earlier in here, the dog is not equipped to break down this stuff into small enough particles to actually, keep the process moving forward. The other thing in question is, they call it dry dog food because it is dry in the bag, and it's dry in the bag as to preserve it. Obviously, it wouldn't last at all in the bag. Most commercial dog food is well below 10% in moisture, and it takes quite a bit more than that to actually keep the digestive process running. And it's you're going to have to take in that moisture from an outside source if it's not provided, with the food. So if you don't, I mean, the people who just put dry food down, in a bowl, I've never understood that practice. I mean, it's like, if you're, well, You're not getting enough nutrition. You're not getting proper nutrition. You're missing out on opportunities to interact with your pet. I mean, if you don't have any more time than that, maybe you don't need a dog. Was trying to get around saying that, but I couldn't find a way to do it. The raw diet is the obvious choice, but it's one of the things that most people probably won't make that choice because they have been taught that canine nutrition is much more complex than it actually is, and the only people who are qualified to make the choice as to what's good for your dog and what you should feed it are the people who formulate the dog food formulas. And truthfully, nothing could be further from the truth. I found the research and practice involved in implementing this to be, well, highly enjoyable and enlightening. So the cooked diet is the second choice, but as I mentioned earlier, you're killing off part of the nutrients with heat. Now you can, by not heating it up past a certain point, which is only around 120 degrees or so, when some of these vitamins and stuff are starting to become deactivated or killed. And truthfully, if you're not going to heat it up any more than that, why heat it at all? But there we have it. The third choice is commercial kibble. In the last 10 to 15 years, there have been some great strides in ingredients, basically research and ingredients. There's many bags of food out there that probably have a near perfect blend of nutrients in them, but it is still in a form that is difficult for the dogs to break down and utilize. So what happens typically is 20 to 30% of what you put in passes through them as waste, and we're not extracting any nutrition from it. One of the greatest ways to tell is looking at your stool size and quality. The more nutrients that are being extracted from the food, then the smaller the stools will be, the darker they will be, the firmer they will be. So if you're looking at a large amount of loose or running loosely formed stools, you can rest assured that you are not getting, the available nutrition out of your dog food. Here's 2 or 3 common sense items right here. This first one came directly out of the dictionary, and it's kind of burned into my brain because for years I just tossed around the terms digestion and metabolism, as if they were interchangeable, and that's in fact not the case. Digestion is the breaking down into small and diffuse particles capable of being picked up by the blood. This is the point where we change from digestion to metabolism. Metabolism is where, the production of energy comes from. This is what actually keeps your dog healthy, what keeps them alive. So the smaller you can break down these particles in the earlier in the digestive process, the more nutrition you're going to get out of whatever food that you're doing. Chewing is the first step in digestion. I think we may have mentioned this a little bit early. We start breaking things down, just getting them into smaller particles so that when they are, immersed in the, digestive juices and stuff, they will break down quickly and get down to that point where they're small enough to be picked up by the blood. Ineffective chewing puts the dog at a deficit before he even swallows. And anybody that's using, commercial kibble, either dry or wet, feeding it to a dog with pointed teeth, this is exactly what you've got is ineffective chewing. So what do you do? Well, the answer is quite easy, actually. Supplementation. As dog foods are manufactured, and there's only 2 ways to do this, the extrusion process or baking. It's the only 2 ways that commercial dog food are made. And, we know from earlier that the enzymes enzymes particularly are killed by heat and pressure. That's the only way to kill them. All right. Heat will also kill probiotics. It is not good for vitamins and minerals. So basically, although it is on the label of the bag, what you have inside the bag is dead nutrients that have basically been sprayed onto the dog food. So, in order to achieve optimum health, we need to provide these, vital nutrients from an outside source. And it's like we can keep these things alive in a separate container by, first of all, blending them with, processes that will not deactivate or kill them. And then, getting them to you, in a container where it's protected, it will be stable, and, it's available right there, live nutrition in a bag that you can add to your pet's food. One of the recurring themes that I see in doing, research and listening to various presentations by nutritionists and such is live foods make live bodies. And this is an important factor. We are providing actual live nutrients from an outside source. You'll see a minimum of 20 to 25% increase in the digestion and then subsequent metabolism of the food. You'll notice in a matter of just a few days, your dog seems to feel a little better. Their eyes are a little bit brighter when they go out for that first trip in the morning. They got a little more bounce in their step as they go out. You'll see reduced stool. You will see an improvement in skin and coat function, and it all comes fairly quick. You'll find that, although perhaps it's hard to measure at times, that their immune system. This is one of the biggest benefits, actually, is a super boost to the immune system. It's actually amazing what getting just as little as 20 to 25% more out of your dog food will do for their overall health and condition. It goes again back to what Hippocrates said, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Now, we have found through, repeated discussions with our customers and stuff, and small studies that we've done in the past, that we feel like the increase in digestibility actually offsets the cost of our product. One of the things that you'll find, and we'll probably touch on this again in a few more frames, is we use a larger amount of the essential ingredients in our product than our competitors do, and therefore it works better and it works faster, and smaller amounts of it will give you a better result. So it's actually, the most cost-effective thing that you can do. Okay, as I mentioned earlier, the immune system will greatly be enhanced. We have ingredients in these formulas too that help with joint and muscle issues. Just anything from basic soreness. We have a large number of performance dogs that do, running, jumping, twisting, turning, stuff like that. That use these supplements on a daily basis, and with great effect. I also find that the animals will live longer. Now, this is all part of the whole holistic approach. We try to keep them away from toxins and poisons as part of our care process for looking out for them. We try to give them the best nutrition that is available, and these the dogs in our care have for years grown to be very old and very, very active right up until the very end. So, as I mentioned before, my vet records are, I guess disappointing if you're a vet, but you know, rabies shots and hip X-rays. That's about all of our money that they get, and it's primarily because we don't have sick dogs. We take care of them. We can also use these supplements with raw diets, and I would say that they're essential in the cooked diet to replace the nutrients that you have probably killed or deactivated with the heat. And just as a little sidebar, I think we I would suggest that you wait until the stuff as it comes off the stove is a little bit cool. Temperatures 150, 160 degrees and stuff will kill even the stuff that's in our containers. So I would let it cool for just a bit before you did that. Here's a great picture of our logo right here. We do dogs, cats, and horses. And our primary points are, it's an all-in-one supplement. It has a very expansive blend of digestive enzymes and probiotics. And as I mentioned, we use them in larger quantities than anyone else in the industry. Um, it being an all-in-one product, we also include amino acids and fatty acids, vitamins, minerals, et cetera, et cetera. Um, we find that by boosting the immune system, we're actually quite effective in helping to regulate allergy type situations. An allergy, frankly, is only an improper immune response. And if we boost the immune system, we find time after time after time that it goes away. Cost effective. A comparison we did some time back, and it's not been that long ago. I mean, the cost of feeding an average 70-pound dog this product is less than the cost or less than half the cost of a small cup of coffee from McDonald's every day. That's a very worthwhile investment. We go back to one of our main talking points for the need for supplementation, and that is inadequate digestion and the subsequent incomplete metabolism is the root cause of most chronic and degenerative conditions that our pets experience. So as you see, we can affect this directly. How does it work? It's very simple. By breaking down the food particles quickly into particles small enough to be picked up by the blood. And we do this before the food gets to the small intestines where, the actual process of metabolism occurs, so we can expose it to, the absolute optimal amount of digestive tract length to get all of the nutrients out of it. So if I were doing a slogan for a t-shirt, I think better health through digestion would be what we'd use. This is a brief comparison with some of the other things that's on the market out there. And although you can see we address all of these issues, the competition out there addresses a few of these issues. But the significant thing to take away from this graph right here is on the bottom line, the daily cost for an average 70-pound dog. And this is by far the most cost-effective product that's out there on the market. It's so potent, as a matter of fact, that we offer a 2-week guarantee. Nobody else on the market comes close. We promise you'll see positive results in 2 weeks, or we give you your money back. I don't think it gets any better than that. Just briefly, a list of the formulas that we've got. Along the bottom line, we've got a joint and muscle formula. We've got one for cats, and then we've got a skin and coat formula. We have a formula for horses as well. And on the top line, our Canine Athlete and Senior Complete formulas are basically a blend of the joint and muscle and the skin and coat formulas. And the Senior Complete also has the addition, a very recent addition, I may add, of L-carnitine, which supports smooth muscle tissue. So we'll keep those hearts and lungs healthier for a longer time. And as I said, for less than the cost of a small McDonald's coffee, it's the most cost-effective supplement of its kind. Our formula is patent pending. I'm not aware of anybody else actually trying to patent a formula right now, but we're hopefully well into that process, and it's the fact, as I mentioned, that we're significantly different from everything else out there that's on the market, and that's actually why we were able to do it. I want you to give it a try. It's risk-free. You got nothing to lose and a world of health to gain for your animal. Some contact information for us right here. That's me on the left, Steve at vibrantpets.com. And my cell phone number down there. You can contact me anytime if you want. If you need questions, nutritional things answered, I'll be happy to help you. Lee's contact information is on the right, Lee at vibrantpets.com. And the direct telephone for him is 540-579-4531. We would encourage you to go to our website and look at, we have an almost endless list of testimonials. I go on there myself sometimes uh, just to see, what's new. And I it just totally blows me away sometimes. Some of these people I know, some are people that I've talked to at various events that we go to. Some of them, it's just absolutely just blows you away. So I think it's definitely worth your time to give us a try. Um, as I said, the website address is www.vibrantpets.com. It's a very nice site. There's a lot of good information on there, but the testimonials I think are probably you're going to find are sort of the standout feature right there. Stuff. Were there any questions that we need to address?
Yeah, we did. We got quite a few questions, and
Okay.
the first one comes from the first one comes from Linda, uh, who uh, who said raw meat uh, has salmonella and other pathogens in it. How can it be safe to feed our dogs?
Actually, the harmful results from Salmonella, E. coli, and these various other things come from the toxins that are produced as the substrate starts to decompose. If you'll remember at the early part of this webinar, I mentioned the short digestive tract of the dogs. And the short answer is this stuff passes through them before there's a chance to actually cause a problem. Remember, we're talking about thousands of years of evolution of dogs and wolves and other canids in the wild that were eating, if they were good hunters, something that they had killed. But if they were not good hunters, they were eating leftovers or something that may have died at God only knows what time. So, their digestive tract itself is what actually protects them from those pathogens that you were asking about.
Okay, I hope that answers your question, Linda.
I hope so. Thank you.
Then we got a question from John. It says on the bag, complete and balanced. Why do we need to supplement if the dog food is complete and balanced?
Okay, again, we touched on this in the webinar, something I said about the holistic health and holistic feeding program. Live foods make live bodies. Right? I know that the average bear out there does not understand, as much about manufacturing dog food as some of us who are either, in the business or on the fringes of the business do. But, first of all, 100% of the ingredients in a bag of dog food, basically anybody's, commercial kibble type dog food, is dead. It has been cooked a minimum of twice. Some of those ingredients may have been cooked 3 or more times, which means there are no more live nutrients in there. Now, as I said, sometimes as they produce this stuff, they will spray it as it comes down the conveyor line before they put it into the bag. But this is it's a minuscule amount of stuff that's actually in there, and it is not actually incorporated into the formula. It's sprayed on topically. So I hope that answers your question. I mean, we just need to provide these things from an outside source to ensure they are live. Live means effective, and why bother with something that is not going to work or is not going to be effective? The benefits will show up in the health of your animal.
Okay. Frank asked, What are the best and what are the worst kibble dog foods?
That's um, that's a subject right there you can start a fight with just about anywhere you go. But I'm going to tell you something that I ran across very shortly, or not too long ago, just a short while back, I guess is what I was attempting to say. A list of the 7 worst dog foods that are available out there on the market right now. And the number one worst dog food for your dog is Beneful. And I have to say that Beneful also probably has the number one best marketing, behind it. The commercials are great. I love to watch them. Um, but it's a fairly well-known fact that the top 3 allergy-causing ingredients in dog food are corn, wheat, and soy. So next time you're in the dog food aisle at the grocery store, grab a little bag of Beneful and turn it over. What's the first ingredient you're going to find? It's ground yellow corn. Okay, so right there we're starting off with something that you would typically be looking to leave um, out of your dog food. Now, I don't remember the exact descending order of the rest of them. A fact that struck me was number 6 and 7 of that list of the top 7 worst dog food was Purina and Pedigree. Here again, everything in that list had ground corn in the within the first 3 ingredients of the formula. Several of them with wheat following up closely, behind that. Animals do best with, or our carnivores, our dogs and our cats do best with animal protein as their protein source. Which leads us to another question, or another statement I'd like to make. When you read the ingredients list on a bag of dog food, they're supposed to be listed in descending order. The ingredient that is makes up the bulk or the largest amount of the formula is the first ingredient that's listed. The second ingredient is the second most prevalent ingredient in there. But they're allowed to label these things in ways that are not, well, actually not anything short of deceptive. Um, I know oftentimes people are encouraged to look for a meat protein or an animal protein as the first ingredient of the dog food. That sounds like good advice if actually what you were getting would be real animal protein. What happens if they list chicken, or if they list beef, or if they list lamb as the first ingredient, and that's implied that it's in its natural wet form? Otherwise, it has to be listed as a meal, a beef meal or a lamb meal, or whatever, which means it has been cooked down. And we remember how dog food is manufactured. It's either baked or it's extruded. So, when you rip the top off of that bag of dog food and look in there, I promise you're not going to find any raw chicken. You're not going to find any raw beef or lamb or whatever it says is the first ingredient on the bag. That has to be cooked down to um, less than 10% moisture to be incorporated into that formula. Now, most protein sources are going to be in the range of about 70 to 75% moisture. And so you list that first ingredient, as meat, and then you cook it to put it into the formula, and you reduce it by 75%. I promise you, it is no longer, the most prevalent ingredient, in that formula. Not to mention the fact that, you've basically decimated the probiotics and enzymes and the rest of the nutrients that are in there. So, um, I hope that's not too much information, but I hope that answered the question for you.
Okay, Steve. John asked again, um, is there any government agency that controls these supplements in dog food?
Actually, yes, there is. I know many of you have probably heard of AFCO before. It's the Association of American Feed Control. officials. I have trouble with that acronym sometimes. They've been in existence since the early part of the 1900s, and they are in effect, in charge of how these ingredients get listed, and what is not approved ingredients that can be incorporated into dog foods or supplements. So they also between them and the FDA, they make sure that nobody is making outrageous claims for their products, which is I think that's a good thing. um, Back in the mid 80s, there was a push, there was a proposal put forward to the federal government to sort of tighten up on the requirements for labeling and listing of ingredients and stuff in dog food bags. I mean, to make it a more legitimate, a more clear, more truthful representation of what's there. And it was met with such resistance from the dog food industry, the manufacturers of these products, that it just sort of drifted away, and it was never implemented. And so we're still using what is in effect a fairly archaic set of regulations that you know in many cases get manipulated to the favor of the dog food manufacturers.
Okay, Steve, I think that answers that. Just one other comment on that is that um, Vibrant Pets has a license through AFCO, and so we're we meet all those regulations. And the final question so far is from Gina, and she wants to know. She hears a lot of commercials on the radio about Dynovite,
Mm.
and wants to know what is the difference between Dynovite and Vibrant Pets.
Wow. Okay. It comes to very simply a question of how much of the proper ingredients are in the formula. As I mentioned earlier, we offer a 2-week guarantee. We know that our product works. We know that we use more probiotics and we use more enzymes in our product than anybody else. And frankly, that's what makes the product work like it does. It makes sure that everything else that's in the formula, everything else that's available in your food, is metabolized and actually used by the body. Now, if you were to get a container of each, first thing you notice is the scoop. The measure that they tell you to use is substantially larger than the one that we put in our product. It's a teaspoon size scoop, and the formula for using it is quite simple: 1 scoop per cup of food. What we're doing in effect is actually treating the food and not dosing the body. It's a digestive aid that is made to just quickly break down whatever you put it on so it can be metabolized. I mentioned earlier the 2-week guarantee. Um, Pick up your Dynovite bag, see if there's anything about a 2-week guarantee on there. There isn't, I can tell you. Don't waste your time. And it's, I guess it becomes, I've always hated car analogies and stuff, and I guess that's because I've always been sort of a car guy. And people like to, I don't know, some people like to look down on that kind of analogy, and I try not to use it any more than necessary. But I mean, it's a difference. I mean, it's a huge difference between you know an inexpensive car, an entry level Chevrolet, as compared to the top of the line Cadillac. A little more attention to detail, a little better design, and certainly better components. And so that's where we are. That's what separates the Vibrant Pets company from everybody else that's out there.
Okay, Steve, thank you. And I'd like to encourage everybody, if they have any questions, any further questions, you can email us direct. You can go through our website and email us any questions, and we'll respond. thank you very much for coming to our webinar, and I hope it was useful for you. And any comments or any questions, we would surely like to hear from you. So have a great day. Be safe out there, and we look forward to talking to you.